This is totally TMI. This is so gross. Hi there. I wanted to tell you guys a story about my experience with mastitis. So let's jump right into it. Just to give a little backstory, I had a hospital birth and my water had broken, and then I gave birth to my kid like 18 hours later. So they had to keep me at the hospital for a couple of days for observation to make sure I wasn't going to get an infection. And so also once I was sent home, I was also like on the lookout for any signs of infection. So my baby was about a week old. When you go to those first visits, then they compare like your baby's weight now with what it was when they were born. So at one of my first visits with the pediatrician after leaving the hospital, Henry wasn't quite back up to his birth weight yet. So then the doctor was like, oh, no big deal. And, gave me instructions and, in case you're going to breastfeed and then you're going to give him formula and this is what you're going to do. And I'm like, okay, great. So then I followed her instructions like over a weekend, I think, and brought him back in the next day. And he had gained some weight. And they were like, okay, great. Keep doing that. It's working. Great. Another couple of days went by, maybe 4 days. And I brought him back and his weight had dropped again. And I was a new mom and I was trying to breastfeed, and breastfeeding was hard. And my pediatrician was telling me to give him formula, and she didn't really seem to care about the fact that I wanted to breastfeed. And then, I had a lactation consultant come over a couple of times and she was like, I don't think you should be giving formula. So I was getting conflicting information, and it was really frustrating and very stressful. At this appointment, my doctor got super alarming with me. And she was like, look, this is not okay. She gave him formula right there in the office, a couple of ounces, which was fine. And she was like, oh my God, he's so hungry. And we really need to keep an eye on this. And she started talking about like failure to thrive. And like, she was super alarming with me about his weight. On the way home from that appointment, I was really upset and I was crying, and I called my husband. I started to feel like I was getting sick. I decided to take my temperature because I was like, I think I have a fever. And all of a sudden, like within an hour of leaving the doctor's office, it was like I had a full-blown flu. I felt like achy and chills, and I took my temperature. I had like a fever of 102, and it felt like I was dying. I reached out to my OB, who's a family friend, and I said, hey, I have a fever. I think I have to go to the ER. Oh, she called me right back and she's like, hey, tell me what's going on. So like she did a little phone interview and she was able to discover, hey, you have mastitis. There was a hard duct. There was like redness and heat in that area that I hadn't observed earlier because like this whole breastfeeding thing was super new. So she was able to call in an antibiotic to a local pharmacy, and my husband went and picked it up for me. So then I started doing some research, and I found out that if you take lecithin, it's like a nutritional supplement that you can take, and it will help to keep the milk from like crystallizing and creating blocked ducts. So that can help to prevent mastitis. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but check with your doctor if there's something that you might be interested in. What I hadn't realized was that, so saliva has enzymes in it that break down tissues like, meat and the food that we eat and stuff. So they also will like break down the tissue of your nipple, basically. And so this is gonna get TMI. What had happened was I had been trying to breastfeed, and we were working our way through and figuring out like the latch and all of that, and I was pumping. My nipples had gotten so trashed that they were sort of like scabbed over. Ugh. The places where the milk would come out were clogged. Nothing was coming out. So of course my kid had not gained enough weight. I had this underlying issue that I hadn't noticed. I was taking the antibiotics, I was doing the lecithin. In the meantime, pump and, put the baby to the breast, and I was trying to get the flow of milk going because that's part of how you get rid of mastitis. I was also, I'd put the baby to the breast, and then when he was done, I would also top off with formula because I wasn't sure if he was getting enough. So there's lots of suggestions online about what to do if you get mastitis. I applied coconut oil to the area, which coconut oil has a lot of cool properties. Sometimes people can be allergic to coconut oil, so like if you or your kid are allergic, obviously don't use it. I would apply coconut oil to the area. I was taking the antibiotics, I was taking the lecithin, and then I was able to get in the shower, like remove the damaged sections of things, express enough milk in the shower that it helped to like get things moving. There was flow again. So it offered a lot of relief. So a couple things about this story. I know a number of people who have handled mastitis without needing to get antibiotics, and I think that is awesome. I try to only use them when it's like absolutely necessary. The other thing to know is that my doctor, who had been super alarming to me at that appointment, I did not ever go back to her. She was highly upsetting to a new mom and to a first-time mom, and it wasn't working for me and my family to continue to go to her office. I transferred our care to this new doctor, and I was able to see him like the next business day or whatever, and he weighed the baby and he gave me some instructions for breastfeeding and how to make that work, and we love this doctor. To any moms out there who have a strained relationship with your pediatrician, or you feel bullied by your pediatrician, or you feel belittled or invalidated by your pediatrician, I just want you to know that you don't have to go to that one. You can find a new pediatrician. Even if you have to go to, you know, a number of different doctors until you find one that really like gels well with you, in my opinion, it's really important to make sure that you've got someone who's gonna be in your corner. When you're stressed out, you're dealing with a sick kid, I think that it's important to go with your gut on decisions like that. Thanks you guys for listening to me. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, share this video with any new mom friends. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.